What's up? What's up? What's up? You guys know what time it is. It is episode 129 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my dining room. And today I want to give you all my week 4 picks in the NFL. Last week for week 3, I went 9-7, hoping to improve my record this week. So let's get it. Let's start with the Thursday night game, which kicks off in a couple hours. We have the Dolphins taking on the Bengals. Should be a good matchup. The Dolphins are 3-0. They've been on fire, and the Bengals got themselves in the win column last week. They're going to be repping their all-white uniforms at home. So, it's going to be a good matchup here. But I got to go with the hotter team, which is the Dolphins. I know Tua's a little banged up. Jalen Waddle's a little banged up. But I think their offense is going to be too much for the Bengals defense. But the Bengals offense could be too much for this Dolphins defense. So we'll see how it goes. I got to take the Dolphins here, though. 29-27. Could even go to overtime, but I got to go with the Fins here. As for the Sunday games, we have the Vikings taking on the Saints. This game will be in London. So if you're on the East Coast time, this game is going to kick off around 9:30. And if you're on the West Coast, it's going to be a 6:30 a.m. game, bright and early. Good way to start a Sunday. Vikings, I'm going to roll with the Vikings here. They didn't look too good against the Lions, but they got the win. They overcame a 14-point deficit. And as for the Saints, Jameis Winston has these back injuries. He hasn't looked good, and the Saints offense just hasn't lived up to expectations yet this season. The Vikings offense is pretty good, and I know Dalvin Cook will probably be out for this game, but they have Alexander Mattison, also a great running back who could fit Minnesota's scheme. So give me Minnesota to win this game here. I'm going to go 31-21. Next is the Seahawks taking on the Lions. That's just an interesting matchup. The Seahawks offense isn't all that. Their defense is better than what I've expected. And as for the Lions, their defense is awful, but their offense has exceeded expectations so far. So it's very interesting because either team could win this game. But I'm going to go with the Lions. I feel like their offense is going to just overpower the Seahawks defense based on the fact that the Seahawks defense is going to be a lot more tired because they're probably going to be on the field longer due to the Seahawks offense not really getting anything going. But then again, the Seahawks offense could look really good against this Lions defense. It's definitely a pick 'em in my opinion, but I'm going to roll with the Lions here. I'm going to pick them to win 28-25. Next is the Jets taking on the Steelers. So no Joe Flacco at quarterback for the Jets. In comes Zach Wilson. He's facing a Steelers defense that's going to be without TJ Watt again. And the Steelers offense just has not clicked at all this season. So it's going to be a good game for sure. Definitely a 50-50 game. However, I'm going to pick the Steelers here because they are home. And plus, Zach Wilson, I think he has potential to be good, but he's coming back from a knee injury that he got in preseason. And I don't expect him to start his first game and just light the Steelers up. I do see it being close scoring, though, so I'm going to take the Steelers 19-16. Next is the Bears taking on the Giants. So the Bears' passing offense has been absolutely horrible, but their run game, however, has been on fire. David Montgomery is probably out of this game, but they have Khalil Herbert, who stepped up and who's been running the ball. He ran hard last week against the Texans. And as for the Giants, they can run the ball really well with Saquon Barkley, too. I think it's just going to come down to who's the better quarterback. I don't think Fields and Daniel Jones, you can't really compare. I mean, you kind of can compare the two. They're not that great. I just feel like it might even come down to the defense. Who could create more turnovers, more takeaways, more sacks? I'm going to roll with the Bears here, 20-17. Not super confident in my pick, but you guys know I can't pick the Giants. Up next is the Titans taking on the Colts. So the Titans and the Colts each got a win last week. They're feeling good about themselves. Derrick Henry finally got going against the Raiders. And the Colts, Matt Ryan finally had a good game for the Colts. And this is also a 50-50 game. A lot of close games this week. I'm going to go with the Colts because they are home. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans did sneak a win. I don't really see it being that high scoring. So I'm going to take the Colts to win 23-21. Next is the Chargers taking on the Texans. So the Chargers looked horrible last week against the Jaguars. And I think that's partially because they rushed Justin Herbert out there with that rib injury when they should have let him rest. And they're going to get a desperate Texans team that's looking for their first win of the season. I remember last year these two teams met, and the Texans got the upset win over the Chargers. And I think it's possible for them to do that again. But I think this time Justin Herbert's going to have a little bit more rest, and he's going to be ready to go. I don't know if Keenan Allen's back yet for the Chargers, but that's big, very big if he's back. I'm going to take the Chargers. I like the Chargers in this spot. I'm going to go 30-17. Next is the Browns taking on the Falcons. So the Browns have definitely been playing really good football lately. They're running the ball really well. Amari Cooper's been showing up. Defense has been stepping up. But speaking of the defense, defensive end Myles Garrett got into a car accident a few days ago. Reports are that he is fine, that he will play this Sunday against the Falcons. And if so, the Falcons will be in trouble because I don't see anyone on their offensive line being able to stop that defensive line. But I do see the Falcons definitely competing with the Browns. They've competed against everyone they played this year. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons won, but I honestly just don't see them being able to stop Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, none of those guys. And not for nothing, Jacoby Brissett's been playing really good football too. So, with that being said, I like the Browns to win this one, 26-21. Next is the Washington Commanders taking on my Dallas Cowboys. It is Washington week. We're going to go out there and we're going to tussle with the Commanders, punch them a couple times in the face. The Commanders are bringing their uniforms. They're going to break out these black uniforms. Hopefully they're breaking out the black because it's going to be a funeral. Dallas is winning 50-0. Nah, I'm completely kidding about the score. But the Cowboys could definitely blow this game out of proportion if they hit Wentz a bunch of times. He was sacked 9 times last week by the Eagles defense. Cowboys defense is just as good, if not better. So they got to hit Wentz a few times, get him riled up, and force some turnovers from him. And Cooper Rush has been playing good football. If the Cowboys could avoid turning the ball over on offense like they've been doing, then I see the Cowboys walking out of there with a 27-17 victory. Next is the Jaguars taking on the Eagles. So this is great because we got the coach of the Jaguars, Doug Peterson, going against his former team. This is going to be a Doug Peterson revenge game, in my opinion. Doug Peterson's the only coach to bring a Super Bowl to Philadelphia. So emotions are going to be high. But this time, instead of coaching for the Eagles, he's going to be coaching against them with Trevor Lawrence. And we've seen the best of Trevor Lawrence this year. Every week he's getting better and better, and I think he's going to have another great game this week. I do see it being close. The Eagles, as much as they make me sick to my stomach, they're definitely competitive, and they're a really good team, and they're 3-0 for a reason. But I'm going to have to side with the Jags right now, 28-24. Next is the Bills taking on the Ravens. So the Bills lost a tough one last week to the Dolphins. I know they had some key players out on defense. I don't know what their update status is with that. And they're going on the road against the Ravens, who have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, arguably the MVP right now. No one's balling at the quarterback position better than Lamar Jackson is. And I continue to see Lamar Jackson just completely shredding this Bills defense, especially if the Bills defense is all banged up. The Ravens are actually not a big underdog, but a slight underdog in this game, which I don't know why, because Action Jackson, man, he's looking like a video game out there. He's running all over people, passing the ball everywhere, throwing for 4 more touchdowns a game. I like the Ravens in this one. I'm going to go 31-28 Ravens. Up next is the Cardinals taking on the Panthers. Now this game could go either way. Both teams they haven't looked that great at all this season, but the Panthers do have something that the Cardinals don't, and that's a stud running back with Christian McCaffrey, and I expect them to run all over this Cardinals defense with McCaffrey. I see it being a close game, but I like the Panthers 24-21. Next is the Broncos taking on the Raiders. So the Broncos 2-1, they got a sneaky win over the Niners last week. The Raiders are 0-3. They're in desperation mode. I mean, people were picking the Raiders to win the Super Bowl this year with all their offseason signings. However, I'm not picking them to win the Super Bowl, but I am picking them to win this game. It's going to be now or never for this Raiders team. If they go to 0-4, I mean, Josh McDaniels should just pack his bags and find a head coaching job somewhere else. So I like the Raiders here. Their backs against the wall, 30-24. Next is the Patriots taking on the Packers. So Patriots quarterback Mac Jones suffered an ankle injury. He was listed as doubtful. There was rumors that he could play. No matter who plays for the Patriots at the quarterback position this Sunday, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Brian Hoyer, I just see them getting beat up by this Packers defense. And then I see Aaron Rodgers lighting up the Patriots defense. So it doesn't really matter who's the quarterback for the Patriots this weekend. I just don't see them beating the Packers. So I like the Packers in this one, 34-20. Up next is the Chiefs versus the Bucks. Man, oh man, this is a great game. This could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. You never know, right? These teams met 2 years ago, the Super Bowl. It could happen again. So we got the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes coming off of a bad loss. Tom Brady on the Bucks coming off of a bad loss. They're both looking to bounce back. However, I got to go with the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs are the better team. I don't think they have the better defense. I think the defense is going to be able to get to Mahomes like they did in that Super Bowl. But I see Mahomes being able to make the plays he has to make and get his team to win. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I'm going to say 33-27. The final game is the Monday night game. The Rams taking on the Niners. This is a rematch of the NFC Championship game from last year, where the Rams won and advanced to the Super Bowl. But in that same season, the Niners swept them, beat them 2 times. And for some reason, in the regular season, the Niners own the Rams. And I think that's going to be the case again this upcoming week. I see the Niners bouncing back after a tough loss and beating their division rival. So I like the Niners here to win this one, 32-23. So that's it for my week 4 picks. I got to give you guys my upset and my lock. So the lock of the week, in my opinion, is the Packers. And my upset of the week is the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Eagles. And that's it. That's all for episode 129 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed my week 4 picks. Give me some feedback. Let me know who your picks are. Let me know which picks you agree and disagree of mine. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on my Instagram. And take care. Have a wonderful night. Make sure to watch the Thursday night game tonight.